Welcome back to the echoes of video game history with Super Pat 98. We're going to be talking about the scam of the century that Xbox did to the Sega Dreamcast. I already made an entire video about this, and I'll leave a description below to see the full story about that. Look at the Sega Dreamcast controller. Now, the Dreamcast was released before the Xbox, and they just ripped off the fucking controller. Xbox ripped off the Sega Dreamcast controller. That's what this video is about. I mean, look at this shit, right? They both look the same. They have the same arches down there. Those two parts are the same. You got the start button here. Start and back. Not too different. The main joystick is over here. Then you got the D-pad down here. Same thing. Right over here and right the fuck down here. Same motherfucking thing. Microsoft really didn't give a shit about video games, and they were just in it for the cash. Like, they didn't have any passion for gaming or anything like that. Not like Sega, not like Nintendo, not like Atari, or even TurboGrafx, where they had people that really cared about video games, and they had a passion for making video games. Like, it wasn't just about money. Like, it was about money, but it wasn't completely about money. But with Xbox, it was all about money. They were just a soulless company. They fucked up the D-pad. They couldn't even get the D-pad right. I mean, it's their first game console, their first game controller. They can't even make an original game controller. They have to completely rip off the Sega Dreamcast controller. Fucking horseshit. They ripped off the whole damn console, but especially the controller. I mean, look at this. The same exact colors for both of them. Look at that shit. Am I blind? Look at this shit. Blue, green, yellow, red. Outrageous. All they did was, like, swap the colors around. And they even have the same letters. A, B, Y, and X, and they're in the same formation, too. All it did was, like, tilt the colors. You got the main logo in the front, and they're both a fat controller. Now, I know a lot of people consider the Sega Dreamcast controller kind of small, and I guess it kind of is, but still, it's a little bit of a fat controller, and then this is a fat controller, so they ripped that off, too. And the white and black buttons, those are the only things that are different. They even ripped off the memory cards, because the Sega Dreamcast, of course, for all you nerds out there like me know, it was called a VMU, the Virtual Memory Unit. And you put it in here, and you can see pictures of the game, and this is your memory card. And they have two slots in the back on the Sega Dreamcast controller, 1 and 2, to save your memory on the games. Ta-da! Look at this shit! Look at that! The same shit! These are where the Xbox memory cards go, boys and girls. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Look at that massive ripoff. Unfucking believable. The same motherfucking battery function. The same memory cards. And the memory cards for the original Xbox were this size also. I don't have any to prove that, but... And lastly, on the back, the two triggers, the left and right trigger. So you hear the sound? Right? Same shit. Same shit. Same triggers. They look exactly the same. Feel the same. Look at that shit. Everything down to this shit on the bottom with the words. It's exactly the same. It's unfucking believable. It really is. Now, these triggers were kind of a new thing at the time, because the PlayStation had them at the top. So did the Super Nintendo. N64 also had that, the L and R buttons. And they did have the Z button right here. But they didn't have the triggers on both sides. So the Dreamcast first did that. And this is a unique controller. Very unique. Sega Dreamcast, Sega made an original controller for their Dreamcast console. To make it stand out and to make it a great, unique controller. You know, be original. And what did the Xbox do? They just ripped off the whole fucking controller. I mean, the PlayStation has its own original controllers. Nintendo has their own original controllers. But no, they don't have any fucking passion for games. They'll just take whatever works from what another company made. They'll just rip it off. And in the years since, the controllers for the Xbox are exactly the same as pretty much the PlayStation controllers for all their Xbox consoles. Throughout their entire history of making game systems, they always just played it safe and had the same controllers as other companies. They couldn't even make an original fucking controller. How do I expect you to make good games if you can't even wow me with your controller? I mean, to be honest, this is a very cool looking game controller. But at the same time, it was ripping off my favorite video game company, SEGA, who did it first. Like and subscribe. Please let me know what you guys think. Did you guys ever notice this when you were kids? Or are you just realizing it now? My name is SuperPat98, and thank you for watching. SEGA!